Good morning, everyone. Today's Thursday, January 6th, 2022, and we're here for a work session. And as always, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Bob, can you please take the floor?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bob. I have just one announcement today regarding COVID-19. As of today, the town board meetings will return to limited in-person attendance, and members of the public will again have the option to participate and view the meeting via Zoom. Residents are also encouraged to utilize this method to reduce in-person attendance and hopefully limit the spread of COVID-19 virus. We have one item only today for discussion, which is the matter surrounding Chapter 255 drag racing event at Epcot. We have two applicants here, Pete Scalzo and Andre Baxa, and various department heads to join in this discussion. Carol, thank you for the great work that you have been doing for managing these applications. I know they're very complicated. I know they're very involved, and I know there are a lot of moving pieces in this, and I just want to make a point that after last year's events, there was an experience, and we learned a lot. There was a lot of lessons learned, and discussion with some of the board members and members of Town Hall, including the police chief. I'm going to make a recommendation to the board that any future drag racing events be NHRA sanctioned. We are a self-insured town, and we got to limit any liability. And if we hold these events, at least there'll be a lot more safety protocols in place. So I'm going to ask the board to support me. We have 5 applications that came before us for drag racing, and one of them, New York King, the application was incomplete. It was not processed, and so we have 3 applications before us, and hopefully we're going to have a healthy discussion in this regard. Okay, so Chief, I know that you've been working on this even before today, and we've had discussions, including this morning, in this regard, and I know that you made a list of your concerns and things that you feel should be addressed, and I think, why don't you start the discussion, please? Please come up. Wherever you feel comfortable, Chief. Good morning.
Good morning. As you said, a lot of lessons learned from last year, and we kind of jotted some notes down. We've already met with Mr. Scalzo back in November, right, of last year, so things are underway as far as making sure everything's in place. However, I do feel things should be documented or stipulated in some kind of agreement if it's not in the application itself. So the first thing I have down is maximum speed. I know that came up last year, so I think that's something we want to decide upon. Placement of all Jersey barriers. The contract as far as the lease agreement of the property, exactly what they're being leased.
Okay.
Noise levels. That might be outside of the town code.
Yes, and that's very interesting, Chief. You discussed that with me. We have a town code concerning noise and exempts racetracks.
Correct.
It does not include the noise from a racetrack. However, we do limit it. We do work towards limiting it. But it is in the town code, and we should review it further, and I'll discuss that with the town attorney.
Right. As you said, NHRA sanctioned or compliant. Town costs as needed. Make sure
Okay.
that's covered. Vehicle inspections, I know that was another hot topic last year, who's inspecting the vehicles before they race. Protective gear, if they have to wear protective gear. I'm pretty sure as per town code, they're required to have mufflers, so we want to check that raceway code out too in the town.
Anne Marie, those two issues, let's have a healthy discussion on that. when you get a chance?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 251 and 259.
Yeah, I'm taking notes.
Okay. What are we up to? Signage, stipulating exactly what kind of signs we want and where we want them. Fire marshal brought off that FD and EMS contracts are in place. And maybe, I would say, probably deadlines with that, so we're not going crazy right until the end.
Yeah, that's what happened last year. We had to scramble around
Right.
towards
So
the end, so that should be definitely identified.
the earlier the better, right.
Okay?
I think that's it for our list. Anything else, Craig?
Okay, so the fire marshal's okay. Jeff, did you want to come up?
What about security?
Security, we usually handle through the application. Not bad to stipulate that otherwise too, Val?
Yeah, it's great to stipulate it, and I think they had sufficient security the last time.
Yeah.
They hired a private firm, actually a reputable firm.
Yeah, I
and
have to
everything
say,
was in
I
place.
think both events went off fine without any issues, so.
Yes, there was never any traffic. The noise was at a minimum, if any, inside the facility.
Correct.
We do have some people from Timber Park saying that there was. I remember seeing a complaint come in, and I happened to be there. I went right to the location, and the police department took a meter reading. I
No
think
violation.
you're aware of that,
Right.
and I'm looking at the complaint on your computer, and it's like, what's going on here? So that can happen, maybe they heard noise from another location, and they thought it came from drag racing.
Every reading, there was no violation, though.
Yes, and in the beginning, in the middle, towards the end of these events, we did do meter readings for noise at all 4 points, including Calverton Cemetery. And I don't think any of those readings, and there was quite a few of them, ever came back above noise level. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, so
And I
not
think-
one of them came back above noise level. So, and it's good.
But I had spoken to some of the business owners inside the fence at EPCAL, and they were very happy with how it went off, traffic, noise, and otherwise. In fact, they didn't even realize it was happening to some degree.
Right.
So
We had the one issue with the one company on Mr. Baxter's event, but that's been addressed, so that shouldn't happen in the future.
Yeah, and I know that drag racing was a shot in our economy. The hotels were all full. All the restaurants and businesses, including auto shops, open throughout the weekend, and they flourished. It was a great day, so it was a little shot in our economy, and we're still going to have some lessons learned. Mr. Scalzo and Mr. Baxter have been good with us as we speak to them. They adjusted things that needed to be done, and I think this board should consider this application. And I think, Jeff, you have something to say? Okay, so we have our planner. Thank you, Chief. We have our planner here. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. As you know, last year's event had to be rescheduled as a result of the DEC concern with bird breeding season. Bob and I reached out to Rob Marsh from DEC at the end of last year, and seeing it on today's agenda, I emailed Rob Marsh again this morning, and we heard back from him. Bird breeding season begins April 15th and goes through August 15th.
Okay.
So the question is, what do we do with these events?
That's something for the board to decide, but thank you for the information.
And that's the biggest issue. The chief addressed all the other things like noise and all the rest of the noise mufflers and all the rest of that. So that's the big concern.
It is a big concern and something that I don't think it's going to be an issue if they have to change dates. So, okay, so anyone else want to add? Mrs. Scalzo, you are the applicant. Did you want to come up to the mic, please?
Okay, first off, I want to need the notes because I'm getting old. Again, thank you folks for allowing us to do what we did last year. You had a lot of guts in order to approve this to happen. I know you've heard about drag racing for years and years and years, and I want to thank you for allowing us to do that. Welcome the new council member, Mr. Kern. Also, I want to shout out, thanks to the Long Island Needs a Drag Strip folks that have been very instrumental in helping us, and also our good buddy, Mr. John Montecalvo, for his assistance, and this young lady right here, Ms. Thomas, who has been really a big help to us all along with advice on what we need to do. Having heard what I just heard as far as the problem with the bird nesting season, it seems that might affect my proposal for some of the dates. So I guess I will need an update on that, because what I did do on the application is I did have that I wanted to start on April 23rd, I believe it was.
Yes,
Run
that's the date
4
I-
consecutive weeks and then shut down in respect to bird nesting season, and not come back until August 20th, similar to what we did last year. However, if this has now become an issue with bird nesting season, then I guess we need to consider that and possibly adjust the April dates. I would not be interested in doing anything prior to April. In my opinion, it would be too cold.
Okay.
And with the lack of use of traction compound, in my opinion, it would be terribly dangerous. So I
What's
would
the
not look to do
temperature?
anything.
The temperature of the road in order to...
Correct, yes, yes.
What's the temperature that...
Well, what is the temperature?
Yeah, in order
oh,
to race?
I wouldn't want to do anything less than, I think 50 degrees. I
Okay.
think it's.
Ground
that's-
temperature,
Yeah,
not
the ground temperature, yes.
ambient.
So
Okay.
that, in March, I would not be interested in doing anything.
Okay.
Okay, I think what I'd like to bring out is the fact of the 2021 events that we had at EPCAL was an overwhelming success, both nationally, locally and nationally. We had many front page stories, and just recently, the Riverhead Local and Riverhead News Review named us as one of the top stories of 2021. So I was proud to see that. I think Suffolk Business folks had written a very nice article about what we did and what we were able to accomplish last year, and again, I'm proud of that, and I thanks to you folks. So again, I'm here to present the proposal for operating for 2022. This is totally different than what we did last year, and here's the reason why.
Okay.
Last season, we operated on what I refer to as a 7,000-foot runway. I think it's also referred to as the Western Runway. This year, what I'm proposing is to move over to the big runway, the 10,000-foot runway. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one of the main reasons is when we were at the 7,000-foot runway, as you folks know, you have a long-term agreement with IAA, the insurance folks. And as you can see, if you go out there now, there are cars there. So they would supersede any agreement that I had with you as far as running the drag races. It kind of affected us last season. However, we realized that we could not continue. We wanted to continue or run into the month of October. We couldn't because of IAA, and that was understandable. And by the way, I'm also happy to say that we were out of there within 1 week, which took
Wow.
a lot of, yes, but we knew we had to because IAA needed the property. So now let's look at what we want to do for 2022. I want to go over to the 10,000-foot runway. However, we will have no racing activity on the runway. The racing activity will only be on the taxiway. Now, here's the advantage of the taxiway at the 10,000-foot runway. Number one, the taxiway there is 222 feet wide. So that's perfect for us. In addition to that, there is existing water and sewer at the site. And I believe that probably was there because of when the days of Long Island, the skydive folks were there. So that's another big advantage for us. The layouts that we have, and I'd like maybe Matt, if you have some questions, I don't know if we discussed this now, of what the layout is. I know the chief, Hegmeier, we've emailed him a copy of that also. I just spoke with the fire marshal. and showed him I know there's a concern, in fact, I believe the chief addressed it, where there was a concern with one of the property owners out there at EPCAL, and I think that was the storage unit man, because of traffic going in and out, and basically the traffic from Berman going towards the storage and also is it Wellbridge? The rehab center.
Wellbridge.
Wellbridge. We are not going to use that. My proposal is we do not use that road at all. It will
I
be-
did speak to Wellbridge afterwards, and they said they had no problem.
Okay,
Yeah, I spoke to Andrew and the CEO, and I spoke to him beforehand to inform him that it's a hospital that needs to be secured and provided services. So I spoke to him before. I informed him. He said he didn't think he had a problem.
Right.
And I spoke to him afterwards.
okay. And as I said, the layout that I've drawn up will actually eliminate the use of that Janway at that point. Now, Janway intersects, it ends right at the runway, the taxiway. And what I will do is I will put up a fence that will go from the existing sound wall that was there from the old skydive days and tie that into an existing gate that is there now on the site. So there'll be no access from Janway onto the site. The only access will be from the closest part to 25, and that would be off of Berman. In other words, when you came in, you made the right to go to the 7,000-foot runway, he'd make the left to go to where we're going to be. Once they're on the property, they'll be directed that they'll bear to the right, and that will be where the spectator parking will be. We have all the layouts for the handicap, spectator parking, fencing, et cetera. We have spectator parking for over 500 cars. And then the folks that are actually competing, they'll be directed to the runway. The runway will be set up to be able to handle 200 race vehicles. And we just have one of the lieutenants that is retiring, I think, tomorrow. And we had a running joke all along throughout the whole season in that he had said to me, well, how many trailers do you expect? And I said, I don't know.
I was there.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 trailers, and he said, you're nuts. So, and he was right, I was wrong. So
Right.
we have a setup now where we can have 200 trailers parking over on the runway area. Again,
And
nothing
none
permanent.
overnight, correct?
Nothing overnight,
Nothing is going
absolutely,
to
no.
remain at that runway overnight except the barriers and,
The barriers are staying only on the taxiway.
okay.
So they don't, now, another thing that Ms. Thomas tried to help me with is we have Launcher has some equipment there. And I don't know what the future status is for them, but my layout will be able to work around Launcher. So that's not going to be an issue for me.
Is that lease agreement expired with Launcher?
It is.
Okay, so they just, and I think they moved out of state, correct?
They have, I'm in contact with Max Hout, so I'm working with him to try to get that
Okay.
resolved. And I think Mr. Scalzo, if possible, would like to utilize some of the items that are still there. So we're
Okay.
hoping to work that out. I plan to give him a call today.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, and I'd like to purchase some of the equipment that he has there. As the chief mentioned, and as you mentioned, Madam Supervisor, all of my events, as there were last year, will be sanctioned by the National Hot Rod Association. That's a guarantee for you. I already have a commitment from the Riverhead Volunteer Ambulance Corps. I spoke with Patrick. He'll be able to handle all the events. And as an aside to that, the exciting thing about that is that, well, originally it was going to be the contribution from us to them, if we did the 24 events, would have been $48,000. And I know they could certainly use it. However, if we need to adjust now, where we're only going to run 16 events, so it would be $32,000 contribution. But that's a hell of a lot of money. You're happy to pay it, and that's going to stay in the community, so that will help those folks.
It's also up to you to secure the fire department?
Yes.
And it's usually a contractual thing, and that's something that you guys work on. We don't get involved with
Yes.
anything with money exchanging and negotiation. Once the application, the board decides that maybe, yes, we want these events to occur, it's a very lengthy process, and that's part of your process. We don't get involved with that. And then, of course, back and forth with the chief and continue on with the fire marshal and the DEC.
Well, and that's what I was just about to say, because, again, I realize this is only a work session, there's a lot more that we have to do, and I know that I have to work, again, with the Fire Marshal, Zytik, and also the Chief, and these guys are tough, but they're good, they're doing their job, and I know whatever they're going to demand of me, which I did last year, I will be able to comply with for this coming year. So that will be taken care of. Also, I believe that all of you board members did attend at least one of the events. I know, Madam Supervisor, you were there every week.
Twice a day,
Twice a day.
making sure everything was in line.
Yes, you did.
I was there the day before, and
You were.
making sure there wasn't an extra racing lane put up
No,
overnight.
No.
So, yes.
And I think you'll agree, there was a lot of smiles on the faces of the people that were there. You saw generations of racing families getting together, enjoying what they love, which is drag racing. You saw wives racing against husbands, sons against mothers, fathers. I mean, it really warmed my heart. I've been around a long time, and the response, and again, I'm sure you did share it, was excellent, and we look forward to continuing with that in the future. We're presenting wholesome family entertainment for the entire community, and again, we're providing a venue where we can help cure the illegal street racing, and then, as you said, Madam Supervisor, the economic impact on the community, I think, was pretty big, and we're proud to be part of that. So, in closing, I hope that we've proven from last year's events that we have earned your continued faith in the Racetrack Not Street Drag Racing Series, and that we can move forward with our plans for 2022. Thank you.
Mr. Scalzo, you mentioned the Riverhead ambulance that you had set out everything up with. What about the fire department?
Fire Department, I did speak with Mr. Chief Danowski, and Chief Danowski has committed to doing all of the
And this
events.
is Manorville, or?
Yeah, well, my understanding, I don't know how correct it is, my understanding is I can only use Manorville.
Well, it's their jurisdiction.
Yes. So if that is in fact the case, if that's the case, then I have spoken with the chief, and he has made a commitment that he could handle all of the events. Okay, so now, when I say all of the events, they were committing for the 24 events. So I believe it'd probably be even easier for them to commit to only the 16 events. But yes, I did speak with him, and he did say that he would commit to it. Cost me a hell of a lot of money, but it
Yeah.
is what it is, and that's the way it's got to be.
Mr. Scalzo, can we get I just think that Chief of Police, our Town Attorney's Office, Fire Marshal's Office puts an enormous amount of work into these applications. And I think letters from the Riverhead Ambulance and the Manorville Fire Department should be upfront received prior to them having to go through all the detailed work of these things, that they're making a commitment to these events, as opposed to last year, Town Attorney's Office put countless hours. Bob Kuzakevich was incredible, the work that he put into this. And then in the last hour, we were uncertain if this was going to go off because we didn't have the fire department secured.
Was that
I think
my-
I'd like to see the order reversed, where we get letters of commitment from the fire department as well as the EMS on scene, Riverhead Ambulance.
Councilor Rothwell, was that my application or the other application? Because I believe I was in there. But forgetting about last year, I am telling you now, I'm making you the commitment to you now that, yes, I have spoken to both Chief Danowski, Manorville, and also Patrick with the Riverhead Ambulance Corps. They have both committed, and yes, you will have that.
Okay. And then I'd like to talk about the PA system as well.
Yes.
And just, if anything would change, I'm gonna tell you, the first weekend that you held your event, I know one day was rained out, and many people throughout the town said, oh, I guess the entire event was canceled because it was quiet, it was subdued, no one even realized you were there, and it ran perfectly smoothly. You did an incredible job, so I commend you for that.
Right.
I think the second weekend was the same thing. It was quiet, subdued. But there seemed to be on weekend 3, and certainly when we got to September 11th, something was different. The volume on whether with the PA, whether things were added and so forth, but being over in Timber Lane, you could hear your voice very clearly, and sometimes that could be a weather pattern shift, wind carrying your voice. You know, I don't know the exact answer, and so I'm asking you, Was anything different from your first weekend to the last weekend that changed?
As I think back, I believe we did have to replace one or two of the speakers, so if that was the case, then there was the possibility that it was a stronger speaker. However, if you could give me the bearings, Timber Park, is it Timber Park? I
Yes.
think those are the folks that have the most complaints with us. Are they, if you remember, the way the speakers were set, they were set towards, I guess towards where the motocross track is. Isn't Timber Park behind that?
Timber
Yes, but it
Park
depends-
is
depends on-
across, and this,
Timber Park is northeast of the track that you were on last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
this event will be even further away from Timber Park being.
That's what I was thinking. If you go into to the taxiway on the
So it's even a
10,000
little
foot
bit-
runway.
A little
But-
bit better, and
Yeah.
further south, and there's buildings that will be sort of in
Great.
between there too, that weren't there in the past, so I think that would help.
And,
Not that I know this, but.
Councilman, I will make another commitment to you. I do know that little old guy that does the announcing. I'll straighten him out. I'll make sure that he.
What I was gonna just wonder is if you could look into the potential, like, you know, some of the places when you even go to the Poconos and other things where, you know, I used to do my Christmas light music on 98.1, you know, and where people go there, you can tune into radio stations.
We have
You can
it.
hear your announcing, your talking.
We
and
have it.
everything.
We-
And
yes,
maybe
sir.
not so much that it has to be vocalized outside, but you know, everybody can get in on their iPhone and turn it on and
Yes, sir.
listen to
We
it.
do have an FM channel. We did announce that. We do have the FM channel. However, on the other hand, I think half the people come just to listen to me announce. No. Tell them that way. No. But yes, sir, well taken. If that's an issue, we turn down the speakers. That's not, that's fine. We'll make sure that we comply with that issue.
Okay, anybody else want to come forward? Mr. Baxter? I noticed today, after hearing from the planner, that your application is within the DEC designated timeframe, April 15th to August 15th.
It's not. My application
No,
is
it's
for March.
March.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
That's before.
Yeah, it is before, hold on.
Now,
Anyway,
do
you
you,
can-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna have him go, so, but,
Oh, I was just going to ask you, if Mr. Scalzo mentioned the ground temperature being you know, 50 degrees or above. Would this pose a problem for you going early March?
It would not.
okay. Are you NHRA sanctioned?
Our event is not an NHRA sanction. I think that while I agree with everything that the town council has said, and of course most of what Mr. Scalzo has said, the one thing that I would want to discuss is the NHRA sanction.
Okay,
I don't think that that is something that's necessary or, excuse me, or something that is a direct line to safety. I think that the NHRA is a large sanctioning body, but they're one of probably hundreds within the country. And since our event was our event that we did last year, from the time of our initial approval until today, the NHRA have actually updated a lot of their rules to include cars that they weren't allowed to include before, and to change some safety protocols. So they're actually playing catch up in some regards to technology and to other things. So I don't think that it's fair or necessarily necessary to mandate an NHRA sanction in the name of safety, because I don't think that that's what is going to make the event safer or less safe.
I'm very comfortable with the NHRA and in the guidelines that were used, and my biggest concern is the Jersey barriers.
Well, if you may, not to cut you off, I can respond to that. The Jersey barriers aren't used in any other event outside of NHRA sanctioned events, and the reason that they use the Jersey barriers is not for the safety of the drivers, that's for the safety of spectators and the safety of equipment or facilities that may be adjacent or on the side of the track. Now, we don't have to speculate on on the safety, the level of safety that the Jersey barriers may provide, because we've already ran 2 events, one with Jersey barriers and one without Jersey barriers. Both events had a car that lost control during the race, and the event that had the Jersey barriers, the car was totaled. The event that didn't have Jersey barriers, the car the driver had the space to correct and was able to continue the race for the day and do a couple more runs and drive his car home. So I think that it's not fair to speculate when we already have evidence that shows that the Jersey barriers, while they can provide safety in certain areas, they can also make it less safe in other areas. And the evidence shows that our event ran smoothly without any incident, and we didn't have Jersey barriers there at all. And other events, similar events that are run throughout the country, also don't have Jersey barriers, and there have not been, to my knowledge, any death or serious injuries that have occurred. And actually, if you look back at the NHRA history and events that have Jersey barriers, a large percentage of deaths that occur at drag strips or racetracks are when cars collide with the barriers themselves.
Okay.
All right, I'm not, what you said about, not having the barriers, and everything was good, is like my son coming home and saying, hey, but Joey's parents let him do this. I don't care what Joey's parents do. I care about what's happening here at our property. So I'm more comfortable with Jersey barriers. And that's just
I understand that.
and I don't profess to be an expert in this whatsoever.
I'm just saying the evidence doesn't agree with your opinion.
But what I've looked at and what
but I
I've read,
understand.
I'm more comfortable with Jersey barriers.
I understand you're more comfortable with that. I'm just saying the evidence and it doesn't agree with your opinion with that, but I understand.
I think Mr. Scalzo would like to come up.
Can I just ask Mr. Baxter a question, though? First, while you're at the podium, with the NHRA, do they sanction any event based on if you meet their criteria? Are you guaranteed, if you showed, I have checked off all the boxes, and I've done what they committed, can anybody get sanctioned, or is it political? Do they only want certain people in certain areas, or regional people, to be certified? Or can anybody that goes down the checklist, fills in any box, request review, and become sanctioned?
I think Mr. Scalzo will probably be able to answer that question better than me.
Okay.
He has a better relationship with them. I will also say one more thing with the Jersey barriers. The NHRA recommends Jersey barriers. I don't think that they require them, and I cannot say, and I don't think Mr. Scalzo can say that every single NHRA track has Jersey barriers lined down the entire side. I don't think that that's accurate.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Baxter. Mrs. Scalzo, you'd like to come up again?
Yes, the NHRA has been around for over 50 years. There is no NHRA-sanctioned racetrack in the nation that does not have either Jersey barriers, or some of the older tracks still have the guardrail in place. But there will never be an NHRA or IHRA sanction. I don't know what the other hundreds of ProMod associations, et cetera. None of those will ever have a sanction without the guardrail or crash wall, concrete barriers. Another thing, there was a terrible, terrible, tragic accident in Texas just a few months ago at an airport type of a race where there was a limited amount of barriers. A car got out of control at the top end, and it killed a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. Why? Because there was no barriers at that point. So barriers are the way to go. NHRA, no track anywhere in the world will get a sanction without having the proper barriers in place, the proper distance for a crowd control fence from the crash wall, concrete barrier, to where the spectators are. There's no track in the country that will have NHRA sanction without that.
Mr. Scalzo, can I ask you, and I know you're not speaking on behalf of the NHRA, but
Sure.
my question, I'm curious, and we'll reach out to the NHRA, is that can multiple different events all be sanctioned through the NHRA, or is there regional? If one person gets sanctioned, do we block anybody else
No.
out? Or like, can every week a different vendor come in and be NHR sanctioned?
You know, I guess you'd have to check with the NHRA. The thing is, when you mention that term, every week somebody come in, the cost to comply with the NHRA with the barriers, with the fencing, et cetera, is huge. So for somebody to come in for a 1 or 2 weekend event, you gotta be crazy. You couldn't afford to do it. To answer your question, anybody that has any kind of a track record, that they've been promoting events, that has a good track record, that doesn't have any losses, sure, anybody can apply for a sanction. I believe you'll probably find from the NHRA, in order to protect us promoters, is they would not want to have an NHRA track sanctioned here in Suffolk County and an NHRA track sanctioned in Nassau County. I could be wrong, but I don't think that happens. But anybody can make an application if they meet all the criteria. No reason why, in my opinion, the NHRA would not give them a sanction.
Okay.
Oh, and they do come out and check it.
Okay.
Thank you. I'd just like to respond to one thing that Mr. Scalzo said about the crash that happened in Texas where a 6-year-old was killed. At our event that took place in September and in our application now, we don't have spectators beyond where there are Jersey barriers. So where there are going to be spectators, you would have Jersey barriers, or you would have, as he mentioned, a significant distance between the track and where spectators would be. But we have no spectators beyond where there would be Jersey barriers. So if we are going to have spectators on the side of the track where there's any chance that they could collide, a car could collide with them, we would have Jersey barriers there to protect them. But where there are no spectators or no facilities or infrastructure that can be damaged by a car, then there would be no Jersey barriers, because the purpose of the barrier is to protect the spectators and to protect infrastructure. It's not to protect the drivers, because crashing into a Jersey barrier is not safer than crashing into nothing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I do just want to say that attending the events last year, Mr. Baxter and Mr. Scalzo, both of you, I was very impressed on the people that attended, having your morning dialogue with all your drivers each morning. You know, we didn't have the traffic concerns, never got to where where it was impeding on, any of our roadways outside of EPCAL area. The people that were there were generally, it was family-orientated events. I commend both of you. You did a very incredible job, and I attended both events and spoke with both of you during them, and it was very impressive. And so I just want to say that I commend both of you. A little nervous for us on this side when we first approved it, that everything was going to go, was coordinated. I continually checked in with Mr. Zidek, and he was, you guys were answering all his questions and following a need, and I thank both of you for being so accommodating to all of our last-minute requests as well. So you both did a great job.
Can either one of you give him a little advice how to win on the track, though? Because apparently it didn't go so well for him.
So our IT raised the councilwoman, councilman, and it took off. He took off. You had this beat-up car, and I said, that car can't go 5 miles an hour. He took off, and by the time he crossed the finish line, he was in Brookhaven.
And if I might add, you got beat by the ugly duckling. That thing was
Yes, that was.
And he beat everybody else he raced to. Yes, he did.
That's what it's fun.
He's got something hidden under the hood he's not sharing with us.
Just like people, it's not what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside.
That's right. So you're going to race again, right?
Did a good job.
Revenge. We want the revenge. Okay, guys, so Mr. Baxter's dates are within compliance. We have to decide if we have 5 applications. Actually, one is not here. New York King didn't comply and his application was in process. So let's see what we want to do. We need to have a public hearing. I set up a public hearing and listen to the public and further look into this matter. And Chief, you okay with these events and so far? Absolutely, and it is an ongoing process after the application is approved. We're just saying that the event can happen, and then a lot of work goes into it afterwards. So we should go to public hearing on this. It's up to the board to decide. you want to go with all these 4 applications, we'll go to public hearing on them? Tim?
Yes, Andre, your March 5th and 6th, that's all you've put in for?
Yeah. It's only 2 days.
Okay.
Okay. Should we go to public hearing?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so,
Yeah.
Dawn, can you take care of that?
Yep.
Make the notices, it has to be noticed in the newspaper, and the public has to,
Does Mr. Scalzo want to correct his dates before the public hearing, so we have
Yeah.
something more definitive, so that the public hearing reflects the particular days,
Are we
in
gonna,
case there are any holiday weekends or anything else that need to
are we
be.
gonna do one public hearing for the
Yes.
multiple applications?
yes,
I would say, yeah.
It's
that's-
easier.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, and less costly, you know.
And less
And
time consuming.
the last
Yeah.
time we did it with one
Yeah.
public hearing, I think it's more effective. So, Mr. Scalzo, before before the public hearing, it's not gonna happen for what, at least another couple of weeks?
Yeah, we'll do the notice for your next meeting, so you would notice it the 19th, and we could have it in the first meeting in February, I think, right?
First meeting in February, so make plans. Hopefully you'll be in attendance, it's important, especially this type of activity. And
Well,
Mr.
especially
Baxter,
we have one going off in March, I mean, we need to,
we need an ASAP,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if I might add, can I just get another clarification of when the man from the
April 15th to August 15th is bird season.
okay.
So you can, if you want to withdraw an application, let us know by then. We'll just have it all, but
I think the
Councilman
date
is
should be
correct.
accurate in the public hearing, so.
Absolutely.
We
switching
can
them all
coordinate
around.
on the dates.
Yep.
Okay, then,
You'll get back to Dawn,
Oh,
and
yes.
so
Yes,
that's
sir.
something.
Yes.
And Chief, you'll be here for the
Oh, yeah.
public hearing.
I'll be here.
All right, I think that we're good. Great. All right, thank you, everyone. This concludes our work session for today. In a moment, I'm going to ask for a first and a second to go into executive session to discuss legal discussion surrounding retention of counsel for tax certiorari matters. Kasakevich, Tenenberg, Lipinski, Brown. Can I have a first and a second to close our work session, please?
motion.
Great. All in favor? All opposed? So moved. And everyone, please be safe. Thank you and have a great day.